This episode is brought to you by eBay. We all have that piece. The one that's so you've basically become known for it. And if you don't yet, fashionistas, you'll find it on eBay. That Miu Miu red leather bomber, the Custo Barcelona cowboy top, or that Patagonia fleece in the 2017 colorway. All these finds are all on eBay, along with millions of more main character pieces backed by authenticity guarantee. eBay is the place for pre-loved and vintage fashion. eBay, things people love.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Knowing you could be saving money for the things you really want is a great feeling. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can choose to bundle and save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
This is Optimal Health Daily. 5 signs you don't know what your body needs. Part 1 by Brittney daCosta with tinybuddha.com. And I'm Dr. Neil. Welcome back to Optimal Health Daily, or welcome for the first time if you're new here. This is the podcast where I act as your very own personal narrator and read to you from some of the most popular health and fitness blogs online. Now, today's author is a guest writer on Tiny Buddha. So let's hear part 1 of today's post as we optimize your life. 5 signs you don't know what your body needs. Part 1 by Brittney daCosta with tinybuddha.com. Quote, "The body is a multilingual being. It speaks through its color and its temperature, the flush of recognition, the glow of love, the ash of pain, the heat of arousal, the coldness of non-conviction. It speaks through its constant tiny dance, sometimes swaying, sometimes a jitter, sometimes trembling. It speaks through the leaping of the heart, the falling of the spirit, the pit at the center, and rising hope." Clarissa Pinkola Estes, from Women Who Run with the Wolves. We read about all these things that we quote-unquote should be doing for self-care, so we add them to our to-do list and rarely, if ever, cross them off. Most of us have such busy schedules, we move on fast forward without getting any closer to the end of our list. We end up running on autopilot to the point that we ignore most of what our body tries to tell us it needs in order to look and feel our best. Just getting through our to-do list each day can take a toll on our body and mind. But what's becoming more apparent is that not slowing down, not listening to our body, can be detrimental to our health and our looks. At some point, I realized that I was on autopilot so often that it felt physically impossible to fit healthy eating into my routine. I tried so hard to eat the right foods and would always end up binging on pizza or some other junk food when I thought no one was looking. I felt so much shame and distress from trying so hard, and yet nothing changed. What I didn't realize is that my body had been sending me signals all along to lead me in the right direction, but I was completely clueless. Autopilot had taken over my life, and not to mention my body's energy, luster, and shape. Not cool. So how do you know if you're running on autopilot and are disconnected from what your body needs to function and look its best? Listen to these signs and see if they sound familiar. Sign number 1. You don't know if you have any food allergies or sensitivities. Do you ever wonder if you're one of the millions of people with a gluten sensitivity or a dairy intolerance? If it turns out that you are, your body has tried to tell you multiple times. Common symptoms of gluten sensitivities are bloating, frequent headaches, constipation or diarrhea, skin issues, sluggishness, and so much more. Common symptoms of lactose intolerance are congestion, bloating, abdominal pain, acne, and migraines. If you've ever experienced any of these, your body is trying to tell you something. I started birth control as a teenager, since it was the only thing I knew that actually worked to keep my acne under control. At times it was so bad my mom let me skip school to avoid embarrassment. When I became an adult, I tried many times to get off of it, but each time I did, my skin broke out again. Adult acne felt even worse. It wasn't until I limited wheat and dairy that I was able to get off birth control and my skin finally cleared up for good. Contrary to what we tend to believe, symptoms like these aren't normal. It's your body's way of telling you a serious change is needed. Seriously. Sign number 2. You frequently aren't sure if you're actually hungry or not. How often do you find yourself staring blankly into your pantry, wondering if you're truly hungry or if you're just bored? In the past, I'd go to my fridge, open it up, and give it a good hard stare. Close it, and then walk away. only to find myself doing it again minutes later. Was I hungry? Was I craving something? I had no clue if my own body was hungry or not. I felt so frustrated and annoyed with myself for doing this time and time again. It sounds counterintuitive, but many of us don't have an appetite the majority of the day simply because we just don't eat enough food. Our body ends up holding on to every morsel we feed it for dear life. It's a genuine survival instinct. If your body doesn't know it's going to get enough at its next meal, it sends mixed signals. But when your body is getting enough nutrients, you won't have to question whether you're hungry or not. Sign number 3. Hear that on tomorrow's episode. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled, 5 Signs You Don't Know What Your Body Needs by Brittney daCosta with tinybuddha.com. And I'll be right back with my commentary.
Oikos presents 15 Seconds of Strength.
Here we go. Steve's got a trunk full of groceries and no one to help him.
Oh, that's tough, Jim. Looks like a 5-trip load at least.
He grabs the first bag, the second. Bob, it looks like he's trying to do it all in one trip. He shimmies the door open, steps over the dog, and he stumbles.
Oh, right into the kitchen without missing a beat. Jim, now that's a man who eats his protein-packed Oikos.
With 15 grams of complete protein in each cup, Oikos 000 can help build strength for every day. Oikos, stronger makes everything better.
Looking for a snack that's both delicious and packs a protein punch? Then get ready for Wonderful Pistachios. You've got to hear this. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1-ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. That means Wonderful Pistachios is a good source of protein with zero guilt. Plus, pistachios are known for their protein power, fiber, and better-for-you unsaturated fats, for a combination that may help keep you feeling fuller longer. And on top of all of that, Wonderful Pistachios is a complete protein, providing all 9 essential amino acids. Whether you love the satisfying crack of the in-shell varieties or the pure convenience of no shells, maybe their new unsalted no shells that holds the salt but not the flavor, there's a pick for you. They're perfect for that protein pick-me-up or just a tasty treat. So get snackin' and get crackin' with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Dr. Neil here for my commentary. Now, when it comes to food sensitivities or actual food allergies, those are technically different things. And I know people can get very confused by this. A real food allergy actually involves the immune system. The immune system starts to wake up, and sometimes the immune system wakes up so much it actually overreacts to the food that we've eaten. And in some very rare cases, it can overreact so much the person goes into what we call anaphylaxis or anaphylactic shock, where they stop breathing altogether. A food intolerance, on the other hand, usually doesn't involve the immune system. Instead, the person may experience symptoms like bloating or headaches, things like that, but there's no risk for that anaphylactic shock. What's so challenging about food allergies and intolerances is that they're tough to diagnose. There are so many other things in our lives that can influence our moods or whether or not we get headaches or bloating, constipation, and diarrhea that it's hard to pinpoint the exact culprit. Now, in addition to running some blood tests and maybe some skin tests, the real best way to determine if a person has a food allergy or a food intolerance is to use what's called the elimination diet. Basically, what that involves is removing any of those foods that are suspected to cause the allergy or intolerance and then slowly enter them back into the diet. But the key is this has to be done very systematically, and those foods have to be introduced one at a time and in their purest form. So it can get really tricky, as you can imagine, to diagnose something like this. Let's say someone has an allergy to wheat, or maybe they're just intolerant to it. Well, where do we find wheat mostly in our diets nowadays? It's usually mixed with some other stuff. For example, whole wheat bread, although it's made from whole wheat, still contains maybe maple syrup or molasses or salt or something else. So you're really not just getting pure wheat when you eat a piece of bread. You're getting all of these other additives. So maybe it's one of those additives that are causing the problem and not the wheat. This is why you have to find the purest form of the actual food that you think you're intolerant to. So what I always recommend is this. If you suspect you have a food allergy or food intolerance, definitely speak to your physician. They may refer you to an allergist and or a dietitian or nutritionist to help you sort this out. I'd be cautious against self-diagnosing. Because when we self-diagnose, we actually might start limiting foods in our diets that are full of nutrients that we need to feel our best. But an allergist, along with a nutritionist or dietitian, can help be sure that if you do have a true food allergy, you can actually get those nutrients in other ways. All right, that's enough out of me for now. I hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday. Thank you as always for listening. I'll be back here tomorrow to finish up this post. So I'll see you there where your optimal life awaits.